at 7:04. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. All right, public hearing. Is there anybody for public hearing?
I'm not sure if it's going to be held further in the agenda yet, but I was curious.
It is a mic. You can actually stand there and that's fine.
I thought it was maybe sideways. So what's the status of the teachers that we're trying to hire, the parents, the preschool teacher? Curious what the status is, and then I'm also curious why we waited so long to post those jobs specifically at Para. And I know the preschool teacher was waiting on it, but why did we wait so long to post?
So some of that will be answered in the principal report. Yep. Any other public?
Good evening. My name is Catherine Clement. My family and I are new to town. We bought a house near the town hall in June, at the end of the month. I'm a little emotional. As soon as we moved in, we got the boys. We tried to get the boys registered for school. We heard great things from everyone we talked to about the school system, and it's our hope that eventually our youngest will be able to start attending. We registered our oldest in the middle school, no problem. We were told that the preschool was full and we'd be on a wait list. This was confusing because everything we read was a public program. We'd done all the registration paperwork and all that. There was no mention of limits or enrollment deadlines, and nowhere did it mention a fee anywhere, even through the registration process. To me, as a public school teacher myself, public means open to all residents and free. Based on this definition and my ignorance of the recent school committee decisions, the wait list didn't make sense, but we waited. A few weeks later, we got a call from the school again, and we were in, sort of. We learned that the school committee had voted to reinstate a second preschool position, and our little guy could go to school with the teacher hired. That was the 2nd of August. We went about the rest of our summer feeling relieved about the whole situation. We returned from a family vacation a few weeks later, expecting that we'd soon be hearing about the first day. Instead, we learned that we'd been naive to trust what we'd been told, and instead needed to have been attending the school committee meeting to keep up on the constantly changing status of the preschool teacher search. Last weekend, after several more fruitless calls to the school about when we might expect our school to start, the soccer season started, and we finally met some of the peers. At their first practice, we learned that all the other students were currently attending. They're all getting to know each other and participating in the rituals of the new school year. In the meetings, 2 students were mentioned as being waitlisted. The superintendent explained that one had an IEP and would definitely be enrolled. By my count, that only leaves our son being excluded from pre-K. In the meantime, we're left completely in the dark. We learned about the fees from the debate over the late pay families. We're very lucky that we are able to afford it if we're ever enrolled, and that we're able to accommodate the childcare necessary in the meantime with our work schedules. But the socialization and skills that our son is missing out on are not easily acquired at home with just your dad, or in playgroups with 2-year-olds instead of in school with the other kids your age. Based on the numbers shared in past meetings, the ratio necessary in pre-K is 10 students to 1 adult. It was also stated in that meeting that there is 1 teacher and 2 pairs in the class. By my count, and based on the information shared in previous meetings, that makes 18 students in the class. In the last meeting, it was mentioned that there's not a set number of students that can be in a classroom, according to both members of the school committee and the superintendent, and that other elementary schools have up to 19. Is my son really going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back with 3 adults in the room? How long is he going to be excluded from school? Is he ever going to be included? I have no confidence that there will be a teacher hired based on what they've seen. And what's to stop you all from changing your mindset? And all this is because 3 people were late paying a bill that they presumably paid. Please help me make this make sense. As a resident of the town, I believe my son should be able to be enrolled in the school system now and should not be held to charges with it. Thank you.
Do you have a response for that, that you want
Yeah, I
to share
can
with us?
include that in all of it. I mean, it's all about the hiring, I think, and I think that I could just get into that if you want me to start.
Okay. Any other public hearing? Okay, let's, we're gonna rearrange the agenda slightly. We're going to move up the principal's report above approval of minutes to allow for a response to that and also some information that it sounds like we need to have, so. Without objections, we're gonna move that.
I'm David Crane, and I'm the interim principal here at Erving Elementary School. And I just wanted to say hello to all of you, because it's the first time I've been at a public meeting for Erving. I'm just going to say that I'm excited to be here. I've worked now with the staff and the kids for almost 4 weeks, and it's been a great experience, and I'm looking forward to us continuing that great experience. I'm new at reading a report like this that includes some of the details that people have been talking about, so forgive me. I'm going to just, if you want to know about the enrollment, I can give you the numbers specifically, if that's part of the presentation here. Okay. Right now we have grade 6, there are 13 kids. In grade 5, we have 15. Grade 4, 16. Grade 3, 17. Grade 2 is 18, but that's with a caveat, it's divided into 2 sections of children. There's 9 and 9 roughly, but it could be it's hard to tell because there's a lot of in-between stuff that happens with the grade 2. Grade 1 has 12, kindergarten has 13, pre-K 4 has 11 4-year-olds, and pre-K 3-year-olds has 6, for a total of 121 with 2 pre-K 4-year-olds on the wait list. I'll go, the calendar of events is in the packet, but we're going to have school pictures on October 2nd. October 4th is open house from 6 to 7 p.m. October 6th is curriculum day, and October 12th is fire prevention presentation. It seems that the hiring is a big deal here. I can understand people's distress about this because there has been a lot of back and forth. We want the kids to be in school when they're supposed to be in school, and we try to make every effort to make that happen. It's been very difficult hiring this late in the game, but we have hired. Through the process is in process a preschool teacher who's going to be starting, I hope, at the end of this month, and we have a librarian who's going to be beginning at the beginning of next month, and we also have paraprofessionals. We need 4, and there's been no response in school spring since August 15th. We also need a school counselor who has, and that job has been posted since the middle of August or the beginning of August, and there's been no response. In an effort to try to get a mental health professional into the school, we changed the posting to another psychologist, and there's been 0 response to that as well. This school is a great community, but it also has children with needs, and we are not covering their needs at this point the way that we need to as a school. And even though we've been posting these positions, the difficulty in hiring is really the issue here, not the fact that we don't want to provide 2 preschools, we don't want to provide a counselor, we don't want to provide a school psychologist, another one. We have our school psychologist who's returning from maternity leave in 2 weeks, And then we can begin the process of understanding where the kids' needs are the most. And I know this doesn't sound as encouraging as it might be. Having a school psychologist return here, even after 4 weeks after school has begun, is going to be a big deal. And it's going to be really important for the whole school community too. And I can't emphasize enough the need for competent mental health professionals in an elementary school, especially when we're dealing with post-pandemic issues. Even though the kids that are coming up in the preschool are the ones who have been least affected by it, they're the first generation of kids who are going to be cared for and not have to go through the experience that many of the children in this district have already gone through. So, you know, I'm going to ask for patience. We're going to keep the application process going. And with the support of the school committee, we're going to continue to search for competent mental health professionals to service the needs of these kids. And Erving is in no different a place than every other school in the Commonwealth at this point, every other elementary school. And it's hard to find competent professionals to fill the needs that we have. So that's where we are. I'll take some questions if you'd like me to.
I have a question. I'm curious. I was under the impression we weren't waitlisting because we had 2 teachers. So I guess since we now have somebody in the works, why would students still be waitlisted?
I can't answer that question because that's not my responsibility, but I can find out the answer for you. I think that the wait list had been put into place when there was the back and forth about whether or not to fund the second teacher, and I don't think it was ever changed. That's what my impression is.
Okay.
Who is responsible? You're, with all due respect, you're the principal of the school, so who are you thinking is responsible for the wait list?
I believe.
I wouldn't know. I mean, because
And we had only one preschool teacher at the time, and so we had those students placed on a wait list. And yes, we do have 2 teachers, but they're not starting, so we don't have 2 teachers in a classroom right now. So those people,
and now we're just waiting for a start date. But that wait list was in place early this summer, and we just finally got somebody to accept the position. And I didn't know it was my responsibility to change the wait list. If I knew, I would have. But the thing is that those children couldn't attend the school anyway because there was nobody to teach them.
Well, will it be removed once the new second teacher starts? Okay, so they will be able to start when the new teacher starts.
Right now, we have 2 on the wait list and a total of 17 in there, so we'll be able to start with 2 sections of about 9 and 8.
So, one thing, Margaret,
But again, I'm going to clarify, you actually can enroll those 2 students because you still have the ratio of 1 to 10 in that classroom. So
Ken,
you've always had a ratio. You've always had a teacher and a paraprofessional at least, that's 2. So you could have the 1 to 10 ratio in there, bringing it up to a total of 20. We philosophically never had that many children in, but to have 2 children just kind of hanging in the wings, it doesn't seem reasonable anymore. And clearly it sounds like it's causing quite a bit of distress with at least one member of our community. So
I apologize for that, but here's the reality of the situation. We had no other teacher, and I was told that this is what the situation was. So I apologize to you, but I don't think it would have made any difference, would it have, if we could have brought another person in? Or not?
I don't see the reason why, at this point now, given the paras that are there, given the person coming in, we can't immediately move forward and bring those students in at this point.
Agreed.
Past is past, whatever reasons there were, many of them valid. So I move that we take all eligible students in to the preschool program immediately.
But are you going to have them attend in the classroom
Yes.
with 1 teacher and 2 paras?
Paras, I've heard. This is me.
Can I ask a question respectfully of the committee? Why wasn't this allowed to happen when there was 1 teacher and 2 paras before?
Because philosophically, we've never had that many in the classroom. We've kind of always thought that 15, 16 was where we wanted to stay. And that's why we went back and forth as to whether we really needed that second teacher, because the numbers kept changing. Every time we met, we were given a different number of students. So when it finally came in August that we felt like we had a firmer number, and we decided that that number then went above what we would typically have in a classroom of 15 or 16. But at this point, we know a second teacher is coming. It seems silly to continue to have these 2 students just wait on the bench, let them come.
I agree, but here's my dilemma. I was under the understanding that we weren't going to expand the classes until we had another teacher in the classroom to divide the class into 2 separate sections.
So I think that's just possibly just a difference of opinion, a miscommunication. But I think, as Mark said, going forward from here, let's enroll those 2 students. We know that there's a second teacher coming. It'll only be a few weeks that they're all in one class. Then they will be split. So let's, why wait? Why wait anymore?
No reason to wait, but as long as there's no confusion about that on my part, then I can do that. But I wasn't informed that that was what the,
Okay, so do you feel like you have the information that you need to
think
move
so,
forward?
yep.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other comments about that?
Do we need to move, make a motion?
I don't think
it's
so.
clear? Okay, fine.
Nope. Any other questions or comments about that? Okay. Yep. Yeah. Did you finish this one? Did you finish this one?
Thoughts. First off, I'm so sorry that you had to come here and do this tonight with this back and forth, as you've mentioned over the last month. So I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry for you, your very first meeting here, that the committee is trying to say that you did not handle this. 2 meetings ago, I think it was 2 meetings ago, said, hey, let's have a second classroom. We got applications in for people, perfect timing, early August. Last meeting, let's not do that. You said, no, we're going to hold off because we don't have people that paid. We do have people that are waitlisted. That was what came from the school committee. A guy gets hired interim to bail us out, and he is doing everything he's supposed to do. Last he knew, you guys had been back and forth. For what reason, I don't know. We lost out on multiple candidates, excellent candidates, after you had put a hold on this. And then I think we only had 1. And so we're fortunate that we have 1. So in no way is this our interim principal's fault. You guys are the ones that went back and forth. That's where it was left. And I'm shocked that this is what you're doing, especially his first time here.
I'm not assigning any fault to anybody.
You may not have personally.
I've been
The
at
school committee
meetings,
is,
and I don't think
and
we can
the
say
chairman.
it's this person or that person, or I should or we shouldn't. I think we are faced with a situation now. We need to make a decision and move forward on it, and it's done.
Right,
You
it's
guys
not a
need to
matter-
do that and be clear.
It's not
Because
a
it
matter
was
of blame.
Thank you,
Back and
Mark.
forth.
Yep, we got it. I understand your position. Thank you. Thank you. Yep, we understand the position. I think Mark is correct. We're going to move forward from here.
Right.
David
But take
seems
some
to
ownership
understand exactly
of it.
what needs to be done, so we're going to move forward from here. Thanks.
Good, and I'd like to propose that you come and meet with me tomorrow at your earliest convenience, and we'll make this work, okay? Seriously, I mean that.
I'll be there with supervisor.
Thank you. Is there any other, do we have any other questions about the principal report? You good? Good? Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the report. All right, so we're going to move back to our agenda now. We'll approve the minutes from August 22nd and August 30th. We got to make a motion and a second, and then we can make any changes that you need to
Yes,
make.
okay.
Okay, so we'll take them one at a time. So I have a motion to accept the minutes from August 22nd.
I think there was one, there's just a couple of name changes, that's all. Under,
Yeah, so-
it was Karina Wislow.
Yeah, we're gonna
Okay.
get a motion, get a second, and then we'll discuss it and we'll make any amendments we
Okay.
need to make.
Sounds perfect.
I'll make a motion to approve the Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023 school committee meeting minutes.
You want a second one for the purpose of discussion?
Oh, yeah, second.
All right. Yeah, I also saw there was a couple of spelling mistakes that just need to be fixed. My name was spelled wrong in one point. Karina's name was spelled wrong at one point. That's what I noticed.
Yeah,
Does
but
anybody-
the content's great.
Yep.
Yep.
Any other fixes that we need to make?
Do you want to fix them and then hand it to Brittany to fix, or do we want to stay where they are just so she knows where to fix them?
Oh, where in the
Yeah.
document? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I'll have to go back and find it. I know I read it, but I just don't remember. I didn't.
Because I know there's names everywhere, so I don't want
Yeah.
her searching all over the
Well, that's a
place.
good point.
Karina Wislow is on page 2, second bullet in the new employee update.
Yep, yeah, the second bullet down.
And I'm past that. I don't remember where my name was, but you have it correct in the top. It's just misspelled in the document, somewhere I'm referenced. Under new business, the motion that I made, so the 4th page, the motion that I made to accept the provisions of the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40, that's where the name is spelled incorrectly. All set, Brittany? Okay, all right, so, you want to vote those corrections? We'll vote the minutes with the name corrections.
Do I have to make another motion? I'll accept them with the edits.
Yeah,
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then the minutes from August 30th.
So we make a motion to accept and then discuss?
Yep.
So I make a motion, we accept the minutes.
I'll second them.
So there's several corrections to be made. I'm not sure when Tuesday, August 30th took place, but the meeting was on Wednesday. So that's one correction. I'm not sure about all of the people who were present or not present, but the superintendent was not present at that meeting.
And neither was Caitlin. So Superintendent Colkeen and Caitlin Sheridan were not present at that meeting.
And finally, down below, between item 5 and 6, there's something about much discussion, which I don't remember at all.
Which number
The
5?
item 5, there was first off, there were 2 comments from the floor from folks on the number 5. That's happened.
Under,
And then number 6, I don't remember much discussion, input from various early childhood professionals.
Sam, Andrea.
So it was just it was those 2 people.
So one is the preschool teacher and the other is the SLP, the speech and language pathologist, who closely works with our youngest learners, specifically the preschoolers.
So their names ought to be in there.
well, they're up ahead, number 3.
So then, in that case, there wouldn't have been anybody else. But that's the only other correction that I had.
Anybody else have anything? I think you could just say after much discussion. I mean, you've already mentioned the input in the other bullets. I'm wondering if, Mark, you're thinking it's not very clear the way that it's written.
I just think it's not very clear
Yeah.
the way it comes out. It's as if there was additional people besides those two.
Would you be happy if she added various early childhood professionals mentioned above?
Yeah, that's fine.
Does that work for you?
Yep.
Anything else?
No,
Okay. Those are the
I
ones have.
I just really, the most important one is making sure when August 30th occurred on a Tuesday, which I'm not sure whether that was last year or the year before or next year.
Our usual meetings are on Tuesday, so I can understand why
Right,
probably
that's why I
just
figured it
assumed
out.
it was a Tuesday.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. All right, so we need to vote on the corrections for the minutes. So as amended?
Move to accept the minutes as corrected.
Sure. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, great. All right, we've got some warrants. We'll make a motion to vote those warrants in.
So move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Gifts, do we have any gifts? No gifts, okay, how about grants? No grants. Okay. Report of the Gil Montague representative. She is not here today. Same reporter for the Franklin County Tech. Caitlin, do you have it up?
I do.
Excellent. Can you read it for us?
I can. And Gil Montague has a school committee meeting tonight, so my guess is that's where she is. So, so some highlights are negotiations are still going on. Many staff and former staff spoke about how low pay is and how much they really love the school district. New handbooks for this year, they combined Great Falls and Turner's Falls High School into one handbook and will be available online only. I believe when I watched the meeting, it said families could also request it, but what they really liked about the online option was that families could view it in their language and have access to that, so that wasn't a barrier. Enrollment is a total of 918 students. Great Falls Middle School has 242 students, and Turner's Falls High School has 203 students. Interest is high in after-school activities, including theater and sports, with over 100 students participating. Last year in theater, a middle school component will be added. There are 166 students that went out for middle school and high school sports, which is the highest seen by the AD since Adam Graves has become the athletic director. As the volleyball middle school coach, I will share that there are 23 girls on our middle school team. There are, I think, 14 on JV and about 12 on varsity. So just the males and females that are going out for volleyball alone has been record-breaking numbers. They were not like that when I was there, so that's super exciting. Yeah. So it's been great. And then here are some highlights of the Franklin County Tech School. So their enrollment is at 632 students, including pre-employment program. They have 156 freshmen, 161 sophomores, 163 juniors, and 152 seniors. 40 students, all seniors, are out on co-op, and juniors can participate in this program in the spring. Freshmen are currently doing their exploratory, where they're kind of trying out the different options and seeing which one they're going to like. Auto technology has new related room that is being built with the help of the carpentry program. Mech Tech is building a time capsule along with carpentry for Northfield's 350 years celebration. Programming and web design are doing drone exploration, which is really cool. Their Vet Tech Science now has a vet assistant certification program. Health tech students are visiting the senior center for nail care, which I think I've seen photos all around on that, which is awesome. Welding shop is the robot Moore and simulation trailer is almost ready to go. They have purchased handheld simulators for the students and the adult education use. And students are also, a lot of students are participating in sports there as well. So they have 204 students participating. There are 38 playing volleyball, 12 doing golf, 28 doing girls soccer, which is a co-op with Turner's Falls High School, 28 boys soccer, 13 cheerleaders, which is also a co-op with Turner's Falls High School, 17 field hockey players, and 68 football players. The veterinarian building should have occupancy in December of 2023. The aviation is on track for starting next September in 2024 with 3 airplanes and 1 helicopter purchased. 90% of the curriculum has been written, 60% of the FAA approved simulation tools have arrived, and the road has been completed and steel is on site. Education programs are really popular and doing well and filling up fast. Future Farmers of America is going to nationals in Indianapolis. There are 12 students going to the Skills USA Leadership Conference in Brattleboro, and the tech is well represented for the size of the school. The homecoming dance is going to be on 10/21/23. Shane Parker is the new carpentry instructor. There will be a new environmental science program in next 2 years or so. And they are on track for the Massachusetts School Building Association program for a new school. And so that should take a year to do a feasibility study, and that's what they're working on now. So a lot of great things happening at our 2 local high schools, the Turner's Falls High School / Great Falls Middle School and the Turner's Falls Tech. So thank you, Jackie, for writing up these great notes, and we're excited to see that happening for our secondary ed students.
I sent her an email saying, did she have any way of finding out how many of these students, were our students? And just that she said she's not sure that number is easily available, but she was going to ask and see.
I can tell you that there's quite a few Erving students at the tech school, my son being one of them. So I recognize a lot of names at the tech school. So,
And I think I have at least 3 or 4 just on my middle school volleyball team. So
yeah,
no, they're all over.
yep, Erving is well represented in those 2 schools for sure. Yeah, we definitely have a wonderful gem in the tech school I'm going to talk about because that's where my child is. But I think both schools, and I think if the sports continue, we may end up splitting back out. We had combined partly because we were lacking students for the sports. So it sounds like we're on the upswing with attendance in the sports. So that's really great. They can possibly split back out and become competitors again. So we'll see what the future brings. Erving Teachers Association, do you have a report?
I don't really have a whole lot to say, but my hope moving forward, having this standing spot in the agenda, is that I will be able to check in, give you more of a report of what's going on in each individual class. It's just not something that happened in time for this first meeting, but we're super thrilled having David Crane here as our interim. He's amazing. We really, really lucked out. Just everything from his like even calmness is really refreshing. And he's made time to connect with faculty, and he's right there on the floor with students at the same time. So I speak for everybody in the union that's really, really happy with him. yeah, so do you have any questions I can answer, or is that?
No, thank you so much.
Yep.
It's too bad David had to leave early. Yeah. He didn't get to hear that, but.
I told him.
Good, good. Collaborative Educational Services Report?
The next meeting is, or their first meeting of this year is next week, September 27th on Wednesday, so at 6. So I do not have any updates at this time.
Okay, moving on. Regionalization update? We still don't have a member. Okay,
And they were meeting tonight, so that's usually how that works.
yeah, that's gonna be difficult then. Is there any interest from anybody being on the regionalization committee?
Did we ever hear from them if it could be a town?
I've not heard back.
Okay.
We should ask that
I
question.
can move back around and ask.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make myself
I'm
a
wondering
note.
if that just fell off the radar. Capital Planning Committee update. This, we actually have this on our agenda. We need to actually vote in members of the capital planning, so we're just going to skip that for the moment. We'll get to it when we get to new business, unless there's anything anybody wants to add at the moment. Okay. Up to Superintendent's report.
This year, we're going to continue in Union 28 our district professional development work around social justice and equity, and also the science of reading. Leadership, we met for our annual 2-day retreat in August at Swift River School. Many topics were covered, including school safety planning with Jim Carmichael from the Franklin County Sheriff's Department, overall planning for the upcoming school year, CPI training, title grant work, professional development planning, special education identification process for the 2023-24 school year, review and discussion of social justice standards, planning for learning walks, which will include both literacy and equity, and we are doing a leadership book study. The book is called The Knowledge Gap, and we had a report on a chapter that we were assigned. Community events. On August 16th, I joined Gilly Boudin, our CNC coordinator, other CNC coordinators from around Massachusetts, as well as the Commissioner and Associate Commissioner of Early Childhood Education and Care, and other EEC staff at a press conference and family event to announce the FY24 Coordinated Family and Community Engagement Grant, and that's the grant that funds programs like ours across the state. We also had Union 28 families join the press conference to share their experiences with the Community Network for Children. And I just want to take the time to give a heartfelt thank you to our Community Network for Children and the Department of Early Education and Care, and a thank you to Leverett Library, who hosted the event. This year, our opening day convocation was held at Swift River School. We had a breakfast for all staff, a brief welcome from myself. Principal Mendonza from Shutesbury led an all-staff group activity, which was lots of fun, and our curriculum coordinator gave an overview of our district focus for this year, which is universal design for learning, equity, literacy, and co-teaching and inclusion. As well, we had an all-district presentation from CES, the collaborative, on culturally responsive pedagogy. And lastly, Union 28. For reading this year, all schools are going to use the Amplify M-Class platform to assess students with DIBELS 8. And for math, all of our schools will be using the Universal Screener for Number Sense and the Forefront database to keep this data. So this is really exciting because when we do our grade level meetings, we can all be looking at the same data and sharing strategies and interventions across the district.
Two questions. Is the CPI trainings done by someone in-house, or do you have
Yep,
to
we
contract
trained
out?
Nicole Sutka from
Okay.
Shutesbury Elementary, so she is our certified CPI trainer.
Perfect. And then I know we're using the same assessment base with that Math Forefront and DIBELS 8, but each district or each school isn't using the same curriculum.
Two of our schools are using the same reading curriculum right
Okay.
now, which is exciting.
Okay. And then math is everyone kind of doing their own thing?
Yeah, and we are
Working
continuing
towards
to look
that, yeah.
at other curriculum.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, thank you. Director of Finance and Operations.
So the FY24 Improving Ventilation and Air Quality Grant Update. DESE posted the grant earlier this month, and I applied for the grant last week through their new GEM system. I asked for a timing update with the state, and they reported that with the ESSA grants being due last Tuesday, they would likely not get to the IVAQ grants until later this week. I'll report information to the school committee as I receive it. Capital Improvements Plan Update. Superintendent Colkeen, Principal Crane, Eric Harris, our head custodian, and I met to review the 25-year capital improvement plan to prioritize currently funded projects. We decided to pare down the 25-year plan to an updated, cohesive 10-year plan. One of our top priorities is the replacement of the window shades, which has a funding of $30,000 available, and building a plan to fix the school roof and skylight, which is not part of the 25-year plan and is currently unfunded. MASBO Bi-Monthly, I'll be attending the MASBO Bi-Monthly Conference tomorrow. The professional development topics on the agenda are the following: improving dialogue with your school committee, classroom observation, what does effective instruction look like in 2023, Open AI, Brave New World, creating a student technology team, and it ends with an update from DESE. The budget update for FY25, the Budget and Personnel Subcommittee met last night. Before the Joint Supervisory Committee meeting, they reorganized and had a first look at the FY25 Union 28 budget. District allocations will be calculated after the October 1st enrollments are in. With the permission of BMP Subcommittee, the draft budget was presented at the JSC meeting afterward. Transportation bid update. We had the Franklin County Business Managers meeting this morning where we were updated on the transportation bidding process for the next contract. There are many districts involved in this bid process, which FERCOG is spearheading. They're wrapping up the collection of data on routes, number of buses, field trips, after school and athletics information. I'll have more updates for you as this year progresses. And Erving Elementary School expenditures range to 9/21/23. So that is, since our last meeting, expenditures that these are all the ones that are going to be on the 9/21 warrant. Legal counsel, we had a due parade monthly bill of $400. Office supplies, reimbursement for welcome back staff appreciation of $106.93 and shredding of $98. Special education contracted services, legal retainer of $482.14 and supervision $41.25. Substitute salary regular education, $200. Substitute salary special education, $388.85. Textbooks and instructional materials, $207.09. and $127.82 to Lakeshore Learning for educational supplies, including flip solve math, letter builders, word splash, and magnetic letters. Special education instructional supplies, $77 to Bjorn Speech Publications. Copier lease, the Sharp copier was $479. Instructional supplies, $2,099.65 for copy paper, $504 for PE supplies, and $218.92 for laminator film. Instructional technologies materials, $2,936.01 to Savvis Learning. Testing and assessment materials, $142.70 to NCS Pearson, and $220.88 to ProEd for testing materials. Health supplies, $224.50 to William V. McGill and Company for paper pillow covers, disposal washcloths, compression sponges, wipes, among other things. Transportation, $11,712.60 to FM Kosmeskis for September bus transportation. School telephone, Verizon for $48.70. School power, $7,209.17 to Eversource. Building maintenance, $425 for lighting work done in the boys' bathroom and in the kitchen. Networking telecommunications contracted services, $120 to Tyler Technologies for employee trainings on our new system. Networking telecommunications materials, $972 and $120 to Amplify, and $321.50 to Forefront Education for subscriptions, including Dibble, student subscriptions, and Forefront. Special education tuition, $10,752.96 in tuition. Union 28 major expenditures I'll review at joint supervisory meetings. If you have any questions on expenditures you would like me to review during Erving School Committee meetings, please let me know in advance. And the rest of the expenditures were for salary related. Erving secondary expenditures range to date: regular transportation, $11,712.60 to FM Kosmeskis for September transportation. Non-public special education tuition, $6,361.20 for tuition. And that is my report.
So you mentioned the shades and replacement of the window shades, which is a funding of $30,000. So is there an actual plan in place to get those?
Looking at estimates to see how much it would cost for those shades.
And what about for the roof and the skylight?
That's a bigger project. We have to look at probably how that process is going to roll out. The skylight is a more immediate problem because it's leaking, but the roof in total, if we could see if we could align that project with the HVAC grant and that project, because if they're done at the same time, it would be really helpful. But we have to see what the status of the HVAC project is first to see if we can line them up.
Could you at least get some prices so we have a general idea of what that's going to cost? It may fluctuate, but at least it gives us a starting point. And have you updated the capital planning committee with the new capital plan?
So the capital plan is 10-year. We prioritize the ones we've already been funded. I worked with Donna LeClaire for cafeteria. We were able to prioritize and rank the kitchen and cafeteria projects. She's now looking for estimates to be able to fill in what those projects would cost and what they might cost in the future. I worked with Eric Harrison. We looked at all the building and grounds projects, and we prioritized and placed timelines for those, but we still have some estimates to receive. And I worked with Tom Smith about the technology capital improvements, and we're also looking at some of the estimates for that. So we have the priorities, the projects, timeline, and now it's the amount of funding will be needed.
Can that be shared with the committee?
Once I can now, but as soon as I get some estimates.
I just know that we're asked to look at kind of what we had in there and what we need to or want to try to change around, and it can only be done at certain times in a certain way. So if you're looking to use that funding that's already there, then, great. But if there's other funding that's sitting there that we know that has been sitting there for a while, we just need to know that to then be able to.
Are you talking about there's a 10-year what we'll be asking for each year, but then we also have a handful of projects that have already been funded, and so those have been prioritized.
Correct one. I'm looking at you in your direction. Sorry.
Yeah, I have the plan. I have the.
Yeah, that.
There's several that we've already funded, and the question came up in August, could we get some clarity as to how much money has been spent out of these? Is this money still that we need? Do you have any? It's okay. I don't want to jump on you. You finish
you're
Caitlin,
good.
and then I'll.
No,
ask.
that was basically it, because I know, so at our joint committee meeting, we were talking about if there is funding in any of these projects that we're not using, we need to report that, and possibly make a motion during a public meeting, to get that moved. But if it is being, utilized, we also want to share that to say, hey, I know this has been sitting here for a while, like the shades. COVID happened, things happened, but now we're ready to use it. So we're going to keep it there and go forward with that. So I think that was where I was just curious on this document that I don't know who shared it with us. If that's been kind of looked at and like, hey, no, we don't need this anymore. We don't plan on doing anything with this. Yes, we need this, that kind of thing. Just so when we're asked to make those changes or not make those changes, we can just do that accurately.
And that was part of the meeting we had with the superintendent and the custodian and our principal, was looking at the projects that are funded, prioritizing, and kind of taking some that we off and separately and thinking about working with the town to close out those projects. Which joint meeting are you referring to?
The one that was last Monday?
A week ago. A week ago. Oh yeah, week ago Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't know there was a school committee meeting.
Yeah, it was joined with the town, and I'm not going to remember all the departments. Finance committee, yeah, there we go. And just general, so we're all on the same page. And so that conversation, I think, an example would be that I think it was like the track, there's like $14,000, like, we can't do, like, that money has to sit there until we make a decision on what to do with it. It's only approved for the track. If we're not doing it with the track, then we need to take it to the town floor and say, we want to move this X, Y, so we can Z to use it somewhere else. So that's the only thing, is I just want to make sure, we're doing our part.
Well, and I think once we go ahead and designate some school committee members to the capital planning, these members will meet with that group,
Okay.
and so we'll have further discussion.
Perfect.
So all parties are involved.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, hold on. You might not know the answer to this. Oh, do you?
Go ahead, Caitlin.
Okay. Do we know what we're using from, Savvis Learning?
Don't, but I can find out and get back to you
Yeah,
with
if
that.
you
I'll
don't
have to
mind,
look at the warrant
shoot us a
itself.
quick email.
Yeah.
Just, I know they are they're usually like a digital curriculum.
You said Sabbath Learning?
Yeah.
That's through, it's kind of like the new name for Pearson, so we use it with math, so K through 5.
Okay, is that in addition to or works with the new math curriculum?
It's the online platform
For the new curriculum.
Investigations.
Oh, we just did, yes, sorry, Eli. Bouncing them all. Okay, so for math, you have investigations and you're using Savvis as an online digital
It used
option.
to be called Pearson Realize,
Okay,
and it's now called Sabbath, and it's the online, so it's how you can project things on the Promethean board, you can choose the quiz assignments
Oh,
out
perfect.
that way or not, and print things from there.
cool. I've been seeing it pop up a lot more, so that makes a lot more sense. If it used to be nothing and then it's this. It seemed like a brand new thing at first, but it just sounds like it was a rebrand of some sort.
Exactly, yep.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
So once the skylight and the roof are repaired, is will this roof be able to accommodate the solar installation?
Don't know the answer to that. I know that they had looked into it in the past, but knew that we were told that the roof had to be replaced before they could go that avenue. I would love to see solar. I think we're in a great location for it, but then it also takes probably an engineer to determine whether the roof can support it.
Right, there's a lot of conversation going on. UMass is currently having a forum on solar, but if we could accommodate solar on this roof, we should move on that.
Yeah, I would love to see that project.
Sure, everybody's on the same page with capital. So for the window shades, you said you're currently looking into that.
Yes.
You have 30,000 appropriated, so when your quotes come in, if it goes over that,
Yes.
before the project can move forward, it's got to come back
Okay.
to the capital committee. And I just want to make sure these aren't just your generic white window shades, those are specific security shades
Yes, I think.
when it was done, so it wasn't just, so, understanding. I mean, unless the school says we're going to fund it out of our own budget, as soon as it goes over that 30,000, it has to come back through the process.
Yeah, we've through the Fridge Freezer project and the Tilt Kettle, the school has been funding anything over those projects. I know as we get further out from when it was voted on and the money was available, the projects, just increasingly get more and more expensive. So it'll be good to have some updated numbers.
And I think, yes, we have funded those, but that's also where we've had some of that confusion or conversation or budgeting, like, oh no, what's gonna happen? So I think making sure we're all part of that conversation of like, when we get quotes in, if they are coming in over that, that's a conversation right away. If it's coming in under and then it gets to a point where it's going over, that's another conversation right away. Being very proactive about it so that we know what's going on and can support that when, what's going on, so. And not an afterthought of like an, oh no.
Anybody else? We will be creating a capital planning subcommittee, but I do think that we may want to, and I'll open it up for thoughts from the committee, look at specifically two items in our capital plan, the track and the, let me make sure I get the name of it right, the
chairs.
Yeah, the chairs, but I can't find it now to tell you what the exact, and chairs.
Event chairs?
Yeah, event chairs. And I say that because if we're going to do anything with those two, we could do it and then have it ready for the special town meeting that's coming up in October. I don't foresee us changing anything with the track or the event shares, and that's an opportunity to return back that money to be used for other capital planning projects.
I have the numbers. The track is 14,000 and the event chairs is 12,000.
Yeah, I had the numbers, I just couldn't find it on my list, yeah. I understand that we don't quite have the committee yet, but I'm wondering if the board is interested in entertaining the idea of, as a board, moving on those items. How do we feel about that?
I will make a motion to move those two items to the town floor? Okay. For the track and the event chairs, equaling a total of $26,000.
And then we can bring it back to the capital planning committee to let them know that that is our wish, and then I believe it goes on a warrant on the town floor, although I'll make sure Brian advises me correctly on that. And then it'll be voted.
Second.
And then,
Started the discussion.
no, that's okay. Does someone have to be present and make that again on the floor, or us making it here? We'll just put it on the agenda and we should be all set.
I believe that then I will reach out to Brian and he will make it into a warrant article so that it's on there.
Do we have enough time to put something on? Do we have enough time to put something on the special?
Right?
It needs to go to capital planning first.
Okay.
They meet,
Thursday.
Yeah.
If you're ready to bring it Thursday night, and
Yep.
then you can come out of that meeting, if that's the recommendation, then we can put it on draft warrant for the second.
I mean, we're giving you back money, so I'm hoping you're gonna, jive with that, but.
I very rarely speak for the committee as a whole.
I thought you could go out on a limb here, but if you don't feel comfortable.
But yes, we can, as long as we know about it, yes.
Okay, to get it for the 18th.
And again, that's why I'm bringing it up now, just because of the timeliness of it.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
So we have a motion and a second. Do you have any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. So then that'll be coming to the capital planning committee meeting. And we will continue to look at this plan for other areas. It's just, I know those two off the top of our heads are pretty easy to make a decision on. And so Caitlin, as soon as you have that 10-year, you'll be giving us those figures and that plan. So at least we know what's on the plan, even if we don't have all the figures. It'll be interesting to see what projects people have come up with, the different departments have come up with.
25-year plan, those projects were pretty inclusive of most of the building needs, technology needs, kitchen, cafeteria needs. What we did was add a few and then really pare down ones that are outdated that we don't need anymore.
Right, yeah, so that would be interesting to see the updated list now. We're working off of the old one.
Can I just Mackenzie? Caitlin, if you notice on that, I'm the one who tracks that spreadsheet, so if you notice anything on there, if titles are really screwed up or if they don't, if you guys call it one thing and we have it listed as something else, please just correct it to whatever your terminology would be and just like highlight it so I'll catch it and then I can update it.
All right.
For any of that, because I'm trying to make sure we're all on the same page, so when we have meetings like this and you say potato and I say potato, we know we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Do you feel like by the October meeting, you'll be able to have that, or is that a reasonable amount of time?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
Great.
Is it possible to get a copy digitally of that spreadsheet? I think I like marked mine all up, even if it's just like viewer. Okay.
I think we
I,
did it electronically.
did we? I can't refind it.
did.
We did, but it might be easier just to send it.
Yeah,
again.
if you remember, great. If not, I'll, perfect, thank you.
Was there anything else? Okay, any other questions for Kayla before she runs?
Thank you.
We've done our principal report, we're Budget and Personnel Committee, none at this time. Is that still accurate, none at this time? Budget and Personnel?
I think Caitlin gave the update in her report.
We had a meeting yesterday.
Yep, okay.
Quick question, and I don't know, I know the principal is not here. but it made me think when I was reading Jackie's report, is they were mentioning approving the handbook, and that's something that we usually do in our September meeting, and it's not on the agenda. So I don't know, Jen, if you can speak to that at all, or if that's an email to,
I can reach out to David.
okay, and see if we can have that for October's meeting. Awesome, thank you.
Also, Jen, can you ask Pam to repost those para positions so that they come back to the top of the queue?
Yep, she's very good about that and does it, but I will make sure she does it again.
Union 28 committee report, next meeting is September, oh, we don't have a date on here.
It was yesterday.
Oh, that was that one, yeah, okay. Anything that we want to report from there?
If anybody who was there wants to share?
I wasn't there for the whole meeting, so I can't speak to the beginning part of the meeting. Were you at the beginning part of the meeting?
Yeah, not at the end.
Work together.
You want to give your statement from that meeting that kicked off the meeting?
I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm retiring at the end of the school year.
That's the part I missed.
There also was an extensive report which will come out later from, maybe you just say what that report was.
Yeah, I wrote a grant for an operational efficiency study, and we worked with the Collins Center, which is out of UMass Boston, and Heather Michaud from the Collins Center presented data from the efficiency study that was done, and she's wrapping up the report from draft to final, along with her PowerPoint presentation, and she will be sharing that with me, and then I will send it to members of the Joint Supervisory Committee.
Yeah, we don't want to have that report in any end, it was an hour long.
It was an hour, yeah. The entire report is 160-odd pages.
But it will be worth looking at when it's finalized.
Yeah, I mean, that was honestly the bulk of the meeting, was that presentation. Old business. Withdraw from Union 28. So this, I think we need to just modify, because we do have a subcommittee that's going to be formed. So we will, I think in the future, just refer to the subcommittee for updates. And so I don't think we need to have that quite written that way on the agenda. So I'm going to move forward to, I'm going to skip the first bullet and go to the second bullet because it relates to that, which
Actually,
is.
before you do that, there's no need for the first bullet. We're not amending the calendar, so we don't have to come back to it.
Perfect, all right. Members of the subcommittee to investigate withdrawing from Union 28. Again, I think we need to work on that language a little bit. Mark is a school committee representative for that committee, so I'm going to turn it to Mark for an update and for a bit of clarification.
So the clarification is that is the words positives and negatives, or pros and cons, withdrawal or remaining. So I wanted to get that in there so that we're not, everybody's not saying, well, what's the subcommittee for withdrawing? It might be a subcommittee that answers questions about what's the advantage of staying. And at the next meeting, when I've got everybody having called and confirmed, we'll vote the people in.
Okay, so you don't want to do that today?
I don't want to do that today because I haven't gotten everybody to contact me directly. And once they do that, then they have to go and get sworn in as a subcommittee, and then we can't talk to each other unless unless we post the meeting. No, then we follow the open meeting law. And the other thing is that it's not a committee to conduct hearings. It's a committee to do investigating. It's sort of like this person will look into that, that person will look into that, and then when we have a meeting of the school committee and somebody in the audience wants to say, well, what would it cost? There'll be somebody who'll know the answer. The cost to stay, the cost to go, the cost to form a new school, whatever cost. Somebody will have at least an understanding what it might be. So I don't know if that clarifies anything, and maybe if anybody's got any questions, I can try and answer it.
Did you get your 7 that you were looking for?
There are 7 of us. As I say, I haven't spoken to everybody to confirm it all. I'm waiting on that before.
I'd like to say, I hope they do all commit, because it was a nice mix of a wide range of representatives from the town. So I'm encouraged by that, and I hope they all decide that they want to be on the committee, because I think it would be a really nice group of thoughts and you know, suggestions and.
And I would encourage, if anyone has thoughts or information they already know, but they don't want to be on the committee, they just want to write something up and you know, send it to me, you know, I'll make sure we all get it and look at it.
But it's worth noting that the subcommittee is an open meeting, so when they're posted, anybody can attend the meetings, just like you're attending the school committee meeting, you can attend the subcommittee meeting. So even if you're not on the actual sitting committee, you're more than welcome to attend the meetings and participate in conversations as the chair, which would be Mark, allows. So
the only thing I want to add is that just in preliminary investigating, a withdrawal from the Union 28 simply takes a vote of the school committee. And of course, to be anything else, once you withdraw, you'd have to meet state requirements. The other thing is that a number of years ago, there was a discussion of withdrawing from Union 28, and the town meeting at the time passed a resolution that said the school committee, when it wants to take that vote, has to have a public meeting to hear the community's concerns. So just that those, and that even though that resolution is maybe 10 years old, it's still binding on us. So.
well, I look forward to the work that committee's going to do. So now we're up to creating the capital planning subcommittee. So we'll create the subcommittee and you know, vote us members of that subcommittee, and then we can get started on meeting to work on that capital plan. So would anybody like to nominate for the subcommittee?
I'd be willing to sit on it.
I was gonna say, I'll nominate Jen Hagler to be on the capital planning subcommittee meeting.
All right, I'll second it.
How many do we want?
Well, I would say the most we can have is 2, otherwise it becomes a joint meeting. So I think 2 is reasonable in case one person can't come, at least somebody be represented. So I'm going to say 2. So Jen is 1. We'll vote. Is there a nomination for a second?
I nominate McKenna.
Is that, oh, no, okay.
Or do you want it?
No, I didn't know if that was something Eric wanted to know. I know
should
he's
we
not
nominate
here.
her?
But I feel like he was
Here,
doing
I
the.
say yes.
Well, I know he was involved with the blinds and the rugs and the ceiling, so I don't want to speak for him while he's here, or not here, but, I don't know how we feel about nominating someone who's not here.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. He was very interested in that, so I'm comfortable doing that. I'll nominate Eric to be the second person.
I'll second that, and we'll check in with him before. Let him
And
have that
if
option.
not, we can always vote the second person at the next meeting. So,
Okay, that works.
all in favor of Jen and Eric being on the capital planning subcommittee?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent, thanks. All right, pie report.
Meeting the first Monday of October. I'm not sure on the date for that. We just finished the Mums fundraiser, which went really well. We're working on opening the Erving apparel store again for around holidays. We should be ready, delivery for Christmas. And we are working with Eric and the bowling alley to set up kind of a meet and greet, get to know everybody, and just a welcome, come join pie event. That's about it.
And that will be on the first Monday of October?
That will be a different day.
Oh, okay. Has there been a decision, so October 2nd is the first Monday, does that sound correct?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'll say it out loud. October 2nd, first pie meeting of the year. Do we know time and location yet?
7 p.m. virtual for right now.
Okay, and that link will be shared on Class Dojo?
Dojo and in the newsletter.
Perfect.
Can you also include the school committee on anything you send out? We don't get them unless we have a student in the school, which most of us don't. So just to help us stay involved and in case we want to attend or do the moms or whatever.
Did we ever find out if school committee can be added to Class Dojo? Because I think we asked that. I mean, I don't need to. I have access. But
I don't know that that may have been before me, but we can certainly follow up on that.
Because that might be easier instead of having to remember separate communications.
Mm-hmm.
You
can do that.
I don't know, Jen, is that a Pat thing or is that a Mr. Smith thing or?
I have no idea.
You have no idea, okay.
Nope.
That's just because it's added onto a thing.
Yeah, I did ask way back to get it included, and we never were, so I'll have to follow up again with that.
Yeah,
Yep.
Oh, yeah, and Jennifer Smith she's still doing the Eagle Express, yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Good to know.
I just wanted to say as well, we are trying to communicate with the public right now, but we're not really doing the Facebook thing. It's Brittany and I. So we are trying to recruit others, but there's 2 of us and we're still trying to do all the things that we would normally do. So just, if there is something that you need from us, just let us know and we'll try and get that together for you, just so you know who's involved.
Yeah, so it sounds like for convenience, we're going to go the route of Class Dojo /newsletter, and that way. Okay.
Yes, I think that would just be the easiest instead of having to send out multiple communications, less to remember.
Perfect, thanks, that was a good suggestion. All right, so that was that. Policy review and update, we need to take some final votes on a bunch of policies.
I just had 2, so I have KCD, there's just an L missing in all, the very last line. The town accountant will be notified of all gifts received by the school.
I'm sorry, Jen, you're a little bit ahead of me, where are you?
KCD.
Come back.
Yeah.
Okay, CD, okay, yep, all right. And where are you, can you say it again to me?
The very last line, the town accountant will be notified of, it's just a missing L, all gifts received by the school.
Oh, I see, yep.
And then my only other question was on DK.
Was on which one?
DK, payment procedures.
Which one was that?
DK.
Oh, okay, yeah, payment procedures.
So we adopt this first and then we designate the authorized signatures or signers?
Once the policy is approved.
Okay. So then we would do that. So once we finalize it this evening, then we can put it on next month's agenda to go ahead and assign 2 people.
We've already, I'm sorry, I'm confused. We already designate 2 people to be responsible for the review and approval of warrants.
We did, we actually voted that in the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
My apologies.
No, that's
It's
okay.
Eric, right?
Yep.
Okay.
yeah, we changed our policy from the 1 to the 2, back in the spring.
And that's for both vendor and for payroll, for both.
Yep.
I don't have any more questions.
Okay, so do people feel like we can batch vote this, or do you want to individually?
Batch.
Okay. You sound like Eric. All right.
Sorry.
No problem. Everybody else okay with that? We're gonna take a final vote on policies DH, DI, DJ, DK, KCD, DIE, JIC, GBA, GCF, and JB.
With the edits on.
With the, yep, thank you.
DK.
Actually, can I make one quick edit? I'm sorry.
With the correction on KCD and,
Sorry, and GCF, it's number 4. Once the appointment letter is issued, a copy is sent to the town treasurer's office. Can I just add prior to the first day of work?
on
number 4, GCF. Yep.
Yeah.
The number 4, so professional staff hiring, it says, once the appointment letter is issued, a copy is sent to the town treasurer's office. And I'm suggesting the add prior to the first day of work. So prior to the employee actually starting.
Yeah, so that you know that someone new has been hired.
You got it, exactly. And that
And
our
what they're
office can
hired
go
at.
ahead and do what we need to do so that that person can start.
Because that appointment letter will also have their salary, their full-time equivalent,
Yes.
all of that on it, so the town treasurer knows that. So, before,
Prior to the first day of work.
First day of employment?
prior,
Yep. Yeah, first day of employment, I like that better, thank you.
Yep. I'll let Pam know to make that.
all right, so we have two corrections or additions on those two warrants, on those two policies. All set? All right, so, I'm sorry, did we have a motion? That's where we are.
Were you making the motion?
I'll make the motion, yep,
Okay.
yes.
Second.
Thank you, that's what we needed, a second, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Next meeting, October 17th, 7 PM. And we don't anticipate one before that, but stay tuned in case something comes up. Erving Policy Committee meets right before that at 6:30, same day, October 17th. Is there anything else? Otherwise, we're going to adjourn.
Nope, I think.
All right, so make a motion to adjourn at 8:22.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.